Here's what we have lined up for you today here on The Now. And technology's in the works to make sure you don't get recalled or counterfeit medications, how it'll be tracked, and how you could use it. And lava lamps, let's face it, a little bit out of style, but now they're making a comeback with a new use decades later, how they're making websites more secure. And a new service to make sure you get matched with the dog that best fits your lifestyle.
A southern Indiana judge says a man accused of murder and cannibalism can reject an insanity defense. Now, Joseph Oberhansley is accused of killing ex-girlfriend Tammy Jo Blanton in Jeffersonville in 2014. Police say he also ate parts of her body after the killing. He faces trial in August. Oberhansley filed a motion last month to withdraw the insanity defense promoted by his defense team. Oberhansley told the judge he felt using the defense would admit guilt and is unlikely to work. The Indiana Court of Appeals will let an 8-year prison term stand for a Vigo County man who pled guilty in the death of a malnourished boy with cerebral palsy. Hubert Kramer was sentenced last December, but he said his sentence was too harsh. This week, he appealed, the court ruled against him. Now, the victim, 9-year-old Cameron Hopengarner, was blind and weighed less than 15 pounds when authorities found him in February 2017 at the Kramer home. Hubert Kramer's wife was the boy's primary caregiver. She was convicted in 2017. The Kramer's adult son and his girlfriend also pled guilty. Construction crews will be doing more work along I-65 beginning this weekend, and it means parts of the interstate will be closed. Elena Martella has a look at this traffic alert.
Instead of just a weekend closure, this one will close parts of I-65 on the northwest side for a little over 2 weeks. Starting on Friday at 9 o'clock at night, I-65 northbound will close from 465 up to 865 on the northwest side as crews repave the lanes. Drivers are encouraged to detour by using 465 northbound to 865 westbound, which will get you back to 65 northbound. This closure is expected to last until July 1st. After the northbound closure is complete, the southbound lanes will close in order to do that work in that direction. Working for you, Elena Martella, RTV6.
A nice spring day here in central Indiana, although it feels more like early spring than late spring here. And you can see the view. We've got some of those puffy cumulus clouds, and in a few spots, those are producing some light rain showers that are moving through, and they're not lasting very long because you can kind of see the swirl here in the clouds and those showers that are moving through. These are sliding by at a pretty quick rate here. Near I-65, just to the east of Lafayette at this point, now moving into northern portions of Hendricks County as well, around Brownsburg. Get a brief rain shower, but not enough that you're going to need to cancel your plans. We've got a little more widespread light rain for you from around Hartford City into Portland along Highway 27 there into Winchester. And that's where we find the real chilly air. Temperatures only in the 50s. Muncie right now at 57. Meanwhile, 64 in Columbus and 66 in Greencastle, 64 in downtown. It has been a breezy day. Still that northwest, that cool wind for us. And we're still getting wind gusts over 30 miles per hour around Shelbyville, Anderson, Muncie, and Columbus right now. We'll start to see those winds relaxing here a little bit with sunset and those temperatures turning chilly. If you do have some plans out this evening, make sure you take along that jacket. We're in the mid-50s by 10. Chris?
The amount of young adults with serious addiction and mental health issues is soaring. Adults 18 to 34 are more likely than any other age group to die from drugs, alcohol, or suicide. CDC found a massive rise over the past decade, and the nonprofit Trust for America's Health is trying to find a solution to this. Now, it's probably not a surprise that the opioid crisis and fentanyl overdoses are a huge part of this, but the group also found young adults face other unique pressures, like high levels of education debt and housing costs. Young adults are also twice as likely not to have insurance and access to health services, not to mention they see a higher amount of people in prison.
Those economic pressures, et cetera, relationship pressures can be significant. Millennials less likely to be married, more likely to be living in a city further away from their family. So building that support system is critically important.
John Auerbach also points to over-reliance on social media, saying that social media might appear like it's something that's really supportive, but in reality it really isn't, especially in a crisis. Now, this report that we're talking about says better access to health services needs to happen. In some cases, people should be referred to treatment instead of being sent to prison, and more also needs to be done to stop childhood trauma for the next generation, which means teaching young people better parenting skills now to pass on to their children. Let's take our first look at the Now News feed. Congress is taking a look at one of the biggest names in e-cigarettes. A House panel wants internal documents from Juul. Lawmakers want to see the company's marketing strategies. Juul's been accused of playing a part in the rise of teen vaping. Now, the House Intel Committee has subpoenaed former White House Security Advisor Michael Flynn and former Trump aide Rick Gates as part of their investigation into Russian meddling in the 2016 election. The Democratic chair of the committee says that the Mueller report raises deep concerns, and they want to speak directly to these two men. Southwest Airlines joining American Airlines in continuing to cancel flights over the 737 MAX. Now, the new cancellations will go through September. At this point, it is unclear when this plane will fly again. It has been grounded since March after 2 deadly crashes. Let's get back to our lineup here on the Now, and we're talking about new protections to keep you safe from recalled or counterfeit medicine, the technology you could use to track your prescription. You're watching the Now.
Keller and Keller.
Welcome back to the Now, Indy. Another major expansion at Butler University. This one will give a boost to students studying the sciences. Today, Butler announced a $100 million upgrade and expansion to its science facilities. It's the university's largest single investment in school history. The project will create 96,000 square feet of space for a science complex featuring high-tech classrooms, modern research labs, and collaborative working spaces. Butler says its science program enrollment has increased 70% over the past decade, causing the science department to outgrow its current space.
Well, we start our Now News feed with just more trouble for Samsung and its Galaxy Fold phone. AT&T now canceling pre-orders for that phone. Samsung had to delay the phone's release after tech bloggers had problems with it when they tried it out. Best Buy also canceled pre-orders. Plant-based meat, it's something that's really popular right now, and it's so popular that actually the nation's biggest meat producer wants in on this. Tyson Foods says that it plans to debut plant-based nuggets this summer. They say it's going to be part of their Raised and Rooted brand. Scientists in Western China finding the earliest known evidence of humans using marijuana. It was in a tomb that's 2,500 years old, and they say there were fragments of wood and burnt stones with evidence of cannabis with high amounts of THC. 4 companies, including Walmart, will use blockchain technology to track prescription drugs. Walmart's already using this to trace foods, but we're going to bring in Andy Taylor right now with a little explanation of what's going to be different when it comes to your meds.
Chris, these days we keep hearing more about recalls involving foods, even medicine. Blockchain technology helps with pinpointing where the problem is coming from. So the FDA picks some companies to test out the technology for prescription drugs. This technology is particularly useful because patients will actually be able to use it. And if they suspect there's something wrong with their medication, patients will be able to scan a barcode on the packaging, and the technology will automatically let them know if the medication is counterfeit. And before the medication even gets into patients' hands, the technology will also determine where it's consistently been stored at the correct temperature. Now that Walmart, IBM, and pharmaceutical companies like KPMG and Merck are getting involved into this new technology, the FDA is hoping that they'll be able to address gaps seen in supply chain processes of drugs, like how long it takes to trace inventory, the accuracy of the data gathered on drugs, and the quality of medications. All of this is just in testing phase, but the FDA will have results on what they found by the end of the year.
Andy, thank you. Next on our lineup here on the Now, lava lamps, they are relics these days, let's face it. But believe it or not, they're making a bit of a comeback, and we're not talking like just for fashionable purposes and decorating your house. We're going to tell you how they're transforming web security.
RTV6 is working for you.
Regardless of whether you think they're really cool or really tacky, lava lamps were a symbol of the 1970s. But in the 21st century, one company's using them to secure websites. Chris Welch shows us how.
Their psychedelic glow reminds us of a bygone era.
Well, a lava lamp definitely says sort of 70s hippies.
And a whole wall of them looks like some kind of modern art display.
But it actually is very functional. We use these lava lamps as part of encryption for encrypting websites.
Yes, they're actually being used to help keep the data that you and I might transmit online secure. Nick Sullivan works on encryption for tech firm Cloudflare. Even if you don't know exactly what that means, chances are you've heard the word.
Encryption is a way to make sure that the communication, the data that you're sending, the messages you're typing in to your site, whether it's your credit card or messages to your friends on Facebook or something like that, that all of those are sent in a way that's scrambled up, so that only the website is able to unscramble it.
It does that by using random numbers.
So it has to be something that no one really can predict. And this is where the lava lamps come into play.
The heated wax inside a lava lamp never forms the exact shapes and patterns twice. It's truly random. And this camera, positioned on the ceiling, takes pictures of the lamps.
We take these pictures and we turn them into these random numbers. Once we have these random numbers, we send them to our servers who help take these random numbers and convert them into the encryption that you use when communicating with a website.
Since there are multiple facets to securing websites, the lamps are just a part of Cloudflare's number generation process. But they're definitely the grooviest part. Reporting in San Francisco, I'm Chris Welch.
Now, we're seeing brands and advertising becoming more inclusive, but this really is about more than just expanding customer base or profits. Kohl's is saying that it's adding kids' clothing designed for people who have trouble with traditional zippers and buttons. Now, these clothes feature things like magnets or Velcro. They're softer, tagless. Shirts are longer, necklines and pant legs are wider, and so it's so comfortable and provide coverage for someone who might sit a lot or have a brace. Now, other brands like Target and Tommy Hilfiger also sell adaptive clothing. And for families like Candy Pickard with the National Down Syndrome Society, these options provide a sense of independence. Her 7-year-old son Mason wants to dress himself and have his own style, but he needs extra help with regular clothes.
To have that magnetic closure and to have, something that is easier for him when he has to get himself dressed or he's at school and needs to use the restroom, he feels more confident. You walk out the door and you're able to interact with your community just as everybody else is.
Now, Mark Oliver also welcomes this inclusive clothing. His nonprofit, Specially Fit, mentors developmentally disabled adults and children and teaches them exercise and healthy habits.
Our program that we do, yes, we work out, but they're building confidence. They're building friendships that they never had before. We put them in group environment, and a lot of them have behavior issues, but why are they in a behavior issue? Because they're not having out, they don't have anything else to do. So we put them in a sporting environment and a family atmosphere, and everything starts to fall in place.
Now, Andy, who you see sitting next to Mark there, tells us he can do 20 push-ups. Specially Fit has exploded in popularity over the last year across Florida, and they have a big competition coming up later this summer.
All right, thanks, Chris. You can spend part of your summer vacation in Greece without leaving the United States or even the city of Indianapolis. On Saturday, the Children's Museum of Indianapolis will debut 2 new exhibits spotlighting the country of Greece. Now, Treasures of Ancient Greece features priceless sculptures and artifacts. Some of the items are being shown in the U.S. for the first time. The other exhibit is called Take Me There. Families can explore modern-day Greece through interactive technology. You can fly over mountains and swirling seas before touching down in Athens. Then you can explore homes and learn about real families who live in Greece. Home-baked shortcake smothered in strawberries, ice cream, and whipped cream. Thousands of people lined up to get the tasty treats at the Circle today for the annual Christchurch Cathedral Strawberry Festival. Most of the money raised from the festival goes to help local charities. Last year, they raised more than $70,000. We'll wait and see if this year's tally will top that number. Kyle.
And it never lasts long and tastes good no matter what the weather. Today, had some pretty good weather out there. Yeah, a little bit chilly and breezy. We're looking out over parts of central Indiana, and you can see in Greencastle actually seeing a little bit of sunshine. But then we're looking west out of downtown Indianapolis, and you can see that shower. We're going to take you to Storm Team 6 radar now and show you where that shower is in portions of Hendricks County, making that slide into the western portion of Marion County here. Some very light rain around Speedway. The bulk of that shower activity, though, between Speedway and the airport. All this is sliding off toward the southeast, and we find one more shower here, kind of paralleling I-65, moving between Frankfort and Colfax. It will continue to slide toward the southeast as well, and then the light shower activity from Portland into Winchester right now. Our temperature 64 degrees, doesn't exactly say middle June out there right now on the thermometer, but that's going to be changing for us. That wind out of the northwest, about 15 miles per hour, stays breezy here for the next couple of hours. But this tomorrow morning, get the jacket ready. Our temperature going to drop down into the 40s. 48 degrees is the forecast in the city. There you see the record 45 set in 1955. So we're going to be very close to that. Some locations may actually get there. Rockville and Park County looking at a low of 46 for you. 46 degrees in Noblesville, and Columbus coming in at 48 tomorrow morning. So you might need the heat on in the car there for the morning drive. But we are going to warm quickly here. A lot of sunshine expected throughout our Friday. Those temperatures already back into the mid 60s for you by 10 a.m. and we'll have a southwest breeze tomorrow. So we turn from the northwest to the southwest, and that's what gets us back into the 70s tomorrow afternoon. Friday's a dry day. Enjoy that, because we get back into this daily chance of showers and thunderstorms. TrueCast here Saturday morning at 9 a.m. You can see the rain overspreading the area. We'll see rounds of rain here throughout the upcoming weekend, and that will start to add up a little bit here. So Father's Day on Sunday, might want to have some indoor plans as a backup just in case, because our rain chance about 70% on Sunday, and that's going to be adding up. Between the weekend and Wednesday, could see 1 to 3 inches of rain. Some areas a little bit higher than that. There's the next 4 days of your forecast with those rising rain chances and highs right around 80 degrees. Chris?
Let's start the news feed, and we all know the store that was once known as Restoration Hardware is really expensive, but now RH, which is its new name, says its furniture is going to cost you more, and you can thank the trade war with China for that. The company says it has a plan to avoid losing money during the trade war by boosting prices, renegotiating with suppliers, and making furniture outside of China. But take a look at these images here. They're of monkeys who were once used in labs for tests. Now, they live at what's called Primates Incorporated. It's in Wisconsin. And more labs are retiring primates to sanctuaries just like this one. The AP says in 2017, 110,000 primates were in research facilities. Next month, the House is expected to vote on raising the federal minimum wage. The plan would more than double the minimum wage to $15 by 2024. It'll be the first time the House has taken up the issue in more than a decade, according to The Hill. Well, how would you feel about getting an operation done with a robot's arms instead of a surgeon's hands? Robotic surgery is now an option at more hospitals across the country, and Kamasi Aaron's taking a look at how it works and how one man says it helped his heart.
Matthew Canino's job is demanding, to say the least.
The nature of being a SWAT officer, it can be very taxing on your body, so you have to be in very good physical condition.
But when he trained, he noticed something was off.
My heart would race, primarily when I was working out. It would race and I'd get short of breath, and I would just stop what I was doing, it would go away, and I thought everything was fine.
But it wasn't. Matthew's doctors discovered a valve in his heart was leaking.
And he said if it wasn't repaired, it would continue to get worse and would likely lead to heart failure.
He thought he'd have to get open heart surgery.
And then the robot is brought in.
But his doctors recommended this robot instead.
We can get inside the heart through these keyhole incisions on the side of the chest without cutting through any bones.
Dr. Sanjay Tripathi, cardiothoracic surgeon at Swedish Medical Center, was Matthew's surgeon.
This is the robotic camera. It has an angle. It has high definition resolution.
He inserted this camera and robotic arms inside Matthew's chest.
So you can see the camera is there. The instruments are inside the chest.
Then sat down at this console inside the operating room where he controlled the robot to do the surgery.
With the robotic technology, particularly 3D high definition imaging from the camera, we're able to see these fine details that would otherwise be a little bit more difficult.
Swedish Medical Center is the only hospital in Colorado offering cardiothoracic surgeries with the aid of a surgical robot. But they're becoming available at more hospitals around the country, and patients are seeing big benefits.
Less pain, faster recovery, less bleeding, fewer infections.
By the third day, I was almost completely pain-free and needed no pain medication at all.
Not all heart surgeries can be done robotically right now, but the hope is as technology advances, that will change. I'm Kamasi Aaron reporting.
Fascinating stuff, Kamasi, thank you. Let's get back to our lineup, and there's a new service to match you with a dog for life. Now, we're going to talk about the group who's behind this service and how it's helping stop puppy mill breeders and puppy scams.